So here's one of the cars in the fleet. This is an 04 or 05 PT Cruiser. I bought it for like 400 bucks. So here's one of the cars in the fleet. This is an 04 or 05 PT Cruiser. I bought it for like 400 bucks. Guy said, he thought he had a blown head gasket. Turns out he was right. Head gasket totally blown. Head was warped. The valves were all out of alignment. Took the head to a machine shop and paid like 80 bucks to have it diagnosed. Head was junk. So we bought a new head for it. Put a head gasket back on it. Timing chain, water pump. Put it all back together. Thought I had it in time. Turned it over a few times, no compression. So that's got to come back apart now. And I've got to get it back in time. But I think once I get it timed, it'll be a good little car. And my plan was to flip this car. Sell it for a little bit of a profit. It'd be a good car, first car for a kid, or somebody going back and forth to work. Like 30 miles per gallon, running. Let me grab the other camera and we will look at the engine bay real quick. And this is the engine bay on this PT Cruiser. You can see the new head that we installed. I say new, rebuilt, remanufactured head. Just got to get back in time. And the timing, you got to take the whole front of the engine apart. It's kind of a pain. These PT Cruisers are a little bit notorious for being a pain to work on, but I don't think it's going to be. I think we're going to get this going again soon. And when I dig back into this, I'll definitely make another video and show how to get this PT Cruiser back in time. And a lot of the principles that you'll see in that video apply to almost any dual ring cam four-cylinder engine. But this is not a turbo. This is a normally aspirated, which whatever. It's a PT Cruiser. It's not like who cares. This is an 02 Dodge Durango, 5.2 Magnum. It's a two-wheel drive. A buddy of mine gave me this car. He was moving away, didn't want to mess with it, just gave it to me. So mechanically, I put a rebuilt engine in this Durango, back like in 05, 04. It doesn't have a lot of miles on it. He just had the transmission rebuilt before he gave it to me, so the transmission has virtually 0 miles on it. Mechanically, this is a sound vehicle. The windows quit years ago. He's left it outside, the windows down, the interior is pretty trashed. But I think I'm going to cut this thing up and make a dune buggy, fun buggy, something out of it. So, right now it's kind of a piece of junk, but I think I can do something with it. I hate to just throw it away because mechanically, nothing wrong with it. And we'll definitely make some videos on this. When I start cutting this up, there'll be a series of videos probably cutting this thing up. All right, so here we have a 1969 Pontiac. Now it says GTO, looks like a GTO. This is not a GTO. This is actually a Pontiac Le Mans, 1969 Pontiac Le Mans, which was the model below the GTO. Now someone has created a clone. They put the GTO badges on it. I think that's really all they did. Looking at the VIN, but this is definitely not a GTO. It doesn't have the 242 in the VIN that a GTO would have had. And as long as you're honest about these clone cars, I don't see a problem with them. Mechanically and body style, it is identical to a GTO. Just didn't come from the factory with a GTO badge on it. And to get into a GTO, this model, you're in the $20,000 range easily, and that's for a mediocre one. So the desirable GTO model, those are kind of getting out of people's price ranges. Whereas you can take an identical Le Mans and make a GTO clone. Like I said, as long as you're honest about it, you're not trying to sell this as a GTO. You're not putting this on Craigslist saying, "Hey, authentic GTO, come get it, 20 grand." You can still have fun with this car. My father-in-law bought this car a couple of years ago. He bought it sight unseen at a bank auction. I guess he got a good deal on it. I don't know what he's got in it, but when he went to pick it up, put it on a trailer, it doesn't have any forward gears. So we will drive in reverse, won't drive in forward. So we've got to look at that. Trying to start it the other day, and gas is just, let me grab this other camera. Gas was pouring out of this thing on the front vent tube. That's the vent tube for this fuel bowl. So that tells me that the needle and seat are probably stuck in this fuel bowl. It's completely filling up and just shooting gas out of this vent. I mean, it was shooting up that high. So I know I've got good fuel pressure, but I need to get this needle and seat unstuck or ungummed, whatever's wrong with it. I read where you can, a lot of old timers will take a block of wood down here with a hammer and smack that fuel bowl, and that will release it sometimes. If it won't, then we'll have to get into it, clean it up. I mean, ideally we would clean it up anyway, because that's just the right way to do it. It's got a Pontiac 400 in it. It's got some dress-up parts on it. I don't know a lot about this car. I've only heard it run a couple of times. And then again, the transmission issues. So that's something we'll definitely be getting into at some point. Cool little car. It's not a GTO, but it's still a fun car. And hopefully we'll get this back on the road pretty quick where my father-in-law can enjoy it. And we will definitely make a video when we start working on the Pontiac.